In 2024, Fantagraphics released Sunday by Olivier Schrauwen. And this massive tome of a book was my favorite read of 2024. It's actually up for an Eisner nomination for the 2025 Eisner Awards. It's an incredible graphic novel collection collecting the most recent work from Olivier, and I can't recommend it enough. But coming out this week, they are re-releasing for the 10th anniversary an earlier collection of Olivier's comic book work, and this is ARSÈNE SCHRAUWEN, and I cannot recommend this enough. But don't take my word for it. Let me flip the camera around, put this book under the microscope, and you can see for yourself what makes this book so good. Stay tuned and watch this video until the end. And we're back. My name is Taylor. This is Taylor Talks Comics. Please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below with any of your thoughts about Olivier Schrauwen or this book I'm talking about in itself, or anything comic book related. I'll reply to all comments, and all those things, the thumbs up, the comments, the subscribing, all those things help the my channel and my videos in the YouTube algorithm, putting my videos in front of people's eyeballs, other comic book readers' eyeballs that don't know my channel exists, and I appreciate that so much. So yes, out this week is the 10th anniversary collection of ARSÈNE SCHRAUWEN, and this is by Fantagraphics. It was originally released 10 years ago in a hardcover, but this is it's a soft cover, but it's like a really thick flexi cover. I'll go over that in just a second. But this is only the second book I've read of Olivier's. I do have Portrait of a Drunk, which I still need to read. I got that with the Fantabuck sale. And then Parallel Lives, I'm still trying to track down a copy of that, because I read Sunday last year, like I said in the intro, and I absolutely fell in love with that comic. That comic is still sticking with me, some of the things that's in it. I think Olivier has just such a creative way of telling stories and using the comic book medium to its fullest. I think he's really one of the great comic book artists and writers out there today. And this collection did not disappoint at all after falling in love with Sunday. And this is, I believe it's designed by Olivier, I'm assuming, because he does do most of his work. Yeah, book designed by Olivier. And this book, the design is really fantastic. You can see on the front cover, and there's just things that after you read it, or after you even when you're like halfway through the book, a lot of these things will make more sense on the cover than they will just looking at it right now. But you see like ARSÈNE, the character right there, venture, love, architecture, freedom, fear, drawn by O. Schrauwen for Fantagraphics. And it says a comic book about, and then those things. Here's the spine, maintaining that kind of diamond motif here. It says O. Schrauwen, ARSÈNE SCHRAUWEN, Fantagraphics. And on the back, we have more of those kind of categorical concepts within the story. Lust, the unknown, nothing, projection, expectation, new acquaintances, bullshit artistry, entrapment. I love that the barcode is an entrapment. And then you get a Richard McGuire, who was the graphic novelist that did Here. The subjects are both visceral and hilarious. So you get a little blurb right there. Then you open it up and you get these really full coverage French flaps. And they're, like I said, it's a really thick flexi cover. It's not exactly just a cheap paperback. And then the inside is just blank there. And on the back, you still have that same really long French flap. And on here, you get more blurbs. You get one from Tom Spurgeon, Publishers Weekly, Art Spiegelman, Dan Nadell, and Large Hearted Boys. So some who's there in book blurbs, and here's the indicia and things. And then we're going to open it up. So right away, Olivier brings you into the story, introducing himself and then describing how his grandfather passed down some of his traits of the way he looks. It's just a cool little intro. But then we get right into the story. It talks about December the 7th, and it's chapter 1, Boat, to the sweltering beaches of the colony. And you get all these passages of him traveling on this boat and what the adventure is like there, and how he's trying to hide away in his room. He's afraid to go anywhere else. And right away, if you're not familiar with Olivier's work, you can see he has like this very like risograph kind of look to his artwork. And I think that's how he originally prints some of his self-published work, is with a risograph. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on that. But his artwork is just brilliant. I do love the captioning of his storytelling too, and I even love how like the lining of the words are even a little bit off register. It gives kind of like a little bit more of a DIY kind of effect to it. Rather than making it look like it's done 100% by computer. I do love that, because it is typewritten lettering, but it still maintains that kind of effect of like, this is not just done by a machine kind of thing. So this is when his grandfather gets to the colony, and he's going to stay at his house of his cousin Roger. And when he gets there, he immediately notices this figure of this person that he thinks is a sculpture at first, and he's just like admiring how beautiful it is. And it turns out to just be the wife of his cousin. And that will maintain a thought throughout. So some of the cool storytelling techniques that I love about this is, I love any sort of like playing with the medium or playing with the form of comics that a cartoonist could come up with. And on here, you can see like the lettering is even more off register, enough to where it's even getting like covered up in some of the things that his cousin Roger's saying. And this is to indicate that he's just awestruck by Marique, which is the name of his wife, and he can't listen, he can't hear anything else. He's just hearing like a little bit of words here and there, even so to where he gets to the point where he doesn't hear anything. He's just awestruck by how beautiful Marique is. So it's just like storytelling bits like that Olivier comes up with, that are just brilliant. And again, like, it's just being cut off there. He's not really hearing anything his cousin Roger's saying. He's just infatuated with Marique. And that's going to be a story that plays throughout, his infatuation with Marique, and whether or not he makes a move on that relationship or not. I don't want to spoil anything. But you get all these techniques too, where he's like in a kind of in a haze viewing these things, and then it's slowly coming to fruition, these pictures and things. Just absolutely like amazing storytelling techniques and artwork by Olivier. And I don't know, I can't begin to profess that I'm an artist and I know exactly what kind of tools of the trade that he's using or not. If you do know or have a hypothesis, please let me know in the comments. But I just absolutely love and adore all of this artwork. I don't know if he's working 100% digitally, or if he's maybe starting off digitally and lightboxing it after that. I don't know. And but it is fascinating the way he works with the form and things. I also like this too. You'll see a lot of these figures of people that it's kind of like he's telling a story. So it's like he's basing it off his memory. So a lot of the people that are not such important figures, he doesn't remember what their faces look like necessarily. So you'll see that he even just draws the most basic circle and glasses. He's like, I remember he has glasses, but I don't really remember much else about him. It's really cool storytelling techniques like that. Here's another version of that same kind of storytelling. And then there, all the lights and stuff in this, like, it's all a haze of trying to, it's just like, it puts you into the picture of someone telling you a story when you weren't there yourself, and you're trying to piece things together as the recipient of the story. And the way that he's able to convey that in such a great way onto the page in art is amazing to me. And how clear and concise that can be in his techniques. So his cousin Roger does, he's no saint either. This is brilliant artwork. I just admire some of these pages. We obviously with ARSÈNE, I don't know how to pronounce his name. The grandfather, when he's infatuated with Marique, cousin Roger's wife, you'd think like, man, poor cousin Roger. But cousin Roger's no saint in his own. I will say there's also these breaks where it says, please wait a week before reading further. Thanks for waiting. So it's like you're supposed to put the book down, put a bookmark in it, wait a week, and then continue reading. I will profess that I did not do that. I just started reading this last week, and I was trying to get my review out on time, so I couldn't do this. But I think if I were ever to reread this, I would follow these, because there's at least one or two more of those in here to see if there's like some sort of special thing with like letting it sit and wait and permeate a little bit, and ferment in my mind, and revisiting it and continuing on, if that would change any of my views on how to read it or anything like that. But yeah, just an amazing, brilliant story. All the characters are so like fleshed out. All the important characters, like I said, some of the characters that only have like circle faces and things, you don't need to know much about those characters, but the important main cast of characters are all very fleshed out. You get to know them, you follow them around, and his grandfather goes from being like a complete doofus to being like almost of a maverick of sorts, because his cousin Roger has this aspiration to make this new town, which you can kind of see right here. And RCNA comes up with the name Freedom Town, and it's just this town they're creating, and they're going through and sorry, I'm trying to avoid spoilers here on these pages. But he has a lot of people working for him. But Cousin Roger gets sent away of sorts. Again, I'm trying to avoid spoilers. So then our CNA has to take over the project. And Marike is kind of like his second in command, or kind of like his ear, in his ear behind him, trying to tell him exactly what to do, because our CNA is not exactly sure of himself. Here's another. Please wait 2 weeks before further reading. But Marike wants the project to be completed. So you have a lot of that. You have the grandfather, our CNA, coming of age a little bit, of being this kind of immigrant coming off the boat and being a little bit of a half-wit, a little bit of a doofus, and then also coming up with some brilliant ideas at times, and everyone that can follow him. But that's about all I want to explain with the story, because it's such a experience to read this, and Sunday for that matter, and I want you to experience it. But if you're looking for like a graphic novel that is just you're gonna be able to sit down and read, that's not bogged down with any sort of continuity or anything you need to read beforehand or afterwards or anything like that. You just want a one and done story. It's gonna stick with you emotionally or mentally. Then I can't recommend this enough. So this is a brilliant story. I love all the usage of colors and artwork and techniques that Olivier uses. It really looks like a style unto himself, and I couldn't recommend this enough. So I'm going to read Portrait of a Drunk now. I'll probably do a video on that in the coming weeks. I'll add that to the schedule, and then I'm still need to hunt down Parallel Lives, because Olivier Schrauwen has won me over. I want everything that he's ever done. But everybody, thank you for watching. Please give the video a thumbs up. Comment down below with your thoughts, or if you have any recommendations for me based on my love of this story. If you're familiar with any other comics that you are, that are similar or in tone or whatever. I love getting comic book recommendations as much as I love recommending comics to you guys. And subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon. I got more videos coming out this week and in the future, and I'd appreciate that so much. Everyone, keep talking comics.